It's my 13th birthday. I'm all excited. I get to go home. Katie and I are in boarding school, and we haven't seen our parents hardly at all this summer. Everyone went their separate ways, and we get to go home and be together. I'm so excited. What a way to spend my birthday. And we arrive home, walk in the front door. There's a big box with a blue bow on it. I'm the lucky girl. So Mom insists I open it right there. And I get the hi-fi set I've been asking for 2 years, where you can stack your albums for continuous play. This is high-tech 60s. I'm very thrilled. This is a great weekend. What a great beginning. Until the next 10 seconds. And Mom does a sucker punch in the gut. Say goodbye to your dad. He's leaving. He doesn't live here anymore. We're divorced. That is how not to have the most important conversation. Katie and I are destroyed. We're shattered into smithereens. Our hearts are pouring and our minds are running wild because we can't make sense of any of this. My parents never fought. They never showed anger with each other. They were always kind to each other and respectful. The only fighting in our house was my sister and I about whatever. Oh, I made a decision that day. Yeah, I made a very important decision. It lasted for 25 years, that decision. Do not get angry. Look at my parents. They must have been angry at each other and they got divorced, but if they ever showed anger, it'll be worse than this. So I am never going to share anger. I'm not going to show it. I'm going to, don't get angry. Life will be worse than this at 13 years old. It stayed that way for 25 years until I made the choice to change it. And that's another story for another day. So let's fast forward. It's my 28th birthday. I'm looking at this intricate field of daisies that are all woven together. Yes, it's a blanket of daisies. It's my mom's favorite flower, and it's just perfect. The only problem is it's wrapped around her coffin. She's only 49 years old. They say she died of heart disease. I can't fathom it. She swam a mile a day. How many people do you know swim a mile a day? For fun. She ate a heart-healthy diet by today's standards. She drank a little wine. Well, she was a smoker. I made a very important decision that day. After hugging her best friend, Pam, she told me how they were so close. I knew they were close. But she said, your mom never, ever shared her pain. Well, isn't that an opportunity to make a decision about life? Mine was, how do you have the most important conversation without destroying relationships? I needed to know how. Well, I learned a few things along the way. I learned you need to be vulnerable. That you need to show up. And when you're willing to be vulnerable and show up, and you're willing to forgive yourself, it's easy to forgive other people. When you receive yourself, it's easy to receive other people. We're so good at gifting, but can we receive gracefully? I've learned, it took me a while, but I've learned. The most important conversation is about nurturing yourself, being authentic, and that increases the capacity to nurture your relationships. Now, I nurtured my relationship with my dad. Oh, we showed up for each other. We shared our truth. You know, what was so great about Dad is he never judged me. Oh, we often had different points of view. But he didn't judge me for it. I felt loved. I felt nurtured by that. And then Dad moved to Texas. We're fast forwarding a little bit here. And there he was in my state, and we were close together. We were sitting at the kitchen table. Well, you know when the elephant enters the room, it's that conversation that goes loop-de-loop all night long. You're really questioning and wondering, and the elephant was in the kitchen. So I gathered all my courage, and I said, Dad, whatever happened in October that broke your heart? You've had 2 heart attacks in October. It begs for me to ask the question. He said, well, that's easy, Pumpkin. On your 13th birthday, That was October 16th. When Mom told you that we were getting a divorce, she made me leave the house. And for you and Katie, we were all suffering, and we needed to be together that weekend. I never forgave myself for allowing her to make me leave. Oh, Dad, I forgave you years and years and years ago. I know that was Mom. I forgave her too. Can you forgive you? Please forgive yourself. It was one of those conversations that every parent-child wants, that deep, honest intimacy and forgiveness and no judgment, real sharing. After every conversation with Dad, whether it was on the phone or in person, it was always, I love you. We always had an I love you for each other. Well, let's fast forward. It's my 36th birthday. Dinner, dancing, some really fine champagne, fun evening. Go home, go to bed. The phone rings. Dark 30. I hear my stepmom's voice. The EMTs are here. We're taking your dad to the hospital. Meet us there. And when I got there, he was already in the morgue. "36, both parents are gone. My son wasn't even born yet. He would never know his grandparents. I'm sad. I lost my rock. That one person that loved me unconditionally. Didn't judge me. Oh, but it's different this time than when my mom died. There's no angst. There was so much angst when Mom died. There were so many unspoken conversations. So many unsaid words. With Dad, we talked about it all. I knew time was short when Mom died, and I was so young, so I made sure I had every important conversation with my dad, and we had far more than that. I had a treasure trove of memories of being with Dad and feeling loved. I appreciated that we had the courage to have those conversations. And I am very grateful, very, very grateful that I learned the most important conversation is the one you're not having. I learned that when the elephant shows up in the room, boy, crank up that music and dance. Get it over with. Get on with your life. So much more fun that way. So along this journey, I learned about the 3 natural steps to a peaceful heart. Because although I was grieving with my dad's leaving, I had a peaceful heart. It's as simple and as natural as DNA. D, define. Every decision you make defines the lens of how you're going to experience life and how you see life. And nurture. The more you nurture yourself by showing up and being vulnerable and sharing your feelings without the drama mom and the drama dude kick, and being authentic, you increase the capacity to nurture your relationships. They become very rich. And A, appreciate. Appreciate having the courage. Appreciate the willingness to be vulnerable. Appreciate the willingness to forgive. And be grateful. And to be able to receive. DNA, 3 peaceful steps to an open heart. Well, is there anything in this message that spoke to you? Did you have conversations come up that you know you need to have? Did it inspire you? Did you think of anybody that may be inspired by this message? I invite you to share it with them. And most important, I want to hear from you. I would like to know what happened when you listened, what came up. Please share right in the comments. And if you vote for me, I'm grateful. Thank you. I received that. Those parents had said goodbye and hugged their children and said, I love you, the morning those precious angels went to Sandy Hook Elementary. They're grateful. They are so grateful. Every day counts. You never know what tomorrow brings. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your comment. And remember, when the elephant shows up in the room, crank up the music and dance.